This is the Nike Structure Plus, and today we're answering two big questions. One is, can neutral runners wear stability shoes? And two, if we start adding some of these more premium foams, like the ZoomX foam all throughout here, with carrier foams like the React X right here, can we make a ride that is enough of an interesting feel that people are going to want to wear stability shoes on their easy recovery days? That's what I've got today. I did 16 miles yesterday and I feel beat up. So is wearing a stability shoe like this going to make me feel better than if I were to grab a Nike Vomero Premium or an Asics Super Blast that's just really cushy, or a Mount to Coast C1? Does this add something different to a rotation for multiple people or multiple kinds of runners out there? As always with my first run reviews, I'm going to do a mile at 10-minute pace, 8:30 pace, and then something sub 7-minute pace depending on what the shoe gives me. And we'll talk through those paces, and at the end we'll talk about value, where it fits in a rotation, and if it's a shoe maybe you should pick up. As always, if these reviews are helpful for you, you can help support me and support the channel by checking out the Ontos Running website, ontosrunning.com, and check out a hat that was designed entirely by me, or maybe some socks if you need running socks. Always only grab stuff you need. But if you do need them and you want to support the channel, that is the best way to do it. But let's go ahead and get these on foot. So popping it on, the idea here is definitely comfort. So we're coming in at almost 11 ounces. So I think it's 10.9 according to Nike. Run Repeat actually had it a little bit lighter. The Run Repeat data looked very fine. The numbers are good because we're putting a lot of tech and a lot of good foam with the ZoomX, with the React X. Also, this was the last shoe of the handful that the Nike rep sent to me for the running store I manage. Just want to be transparent, not being paid or anything. That would be almost laughable still at the size of the channel, but really cool to have this given to me, and I want to be transparent with you guys. So I did not have to buy this with my money. But first thing I'm noticing here is the toe box feels really narrow here through the side. And even at the front, it actually doesn't feel like I've got a ton of space yet. And that's actually really surprising because this is a 12.5, and for me, 12.5 fits almost always too long. I usually go for a size 12. For a 12.5 to be short is out of the ordinary. We do have a ton of stack here, so we've got 42 millimeters of stack, and all that actually felt really nice. More thoughts. I'm going to sit back down to finish this thought before I get too carried away. The 42 millimeters of stack in the heel drops down to 32 in the forefoot, so we get plenty of stack. That should feel really good. I stood up and said, ooh, I like that, because it feels like the React X is getting softer. So like the Nike Pegasus Trail or the Peg ACG is a really nice feeling shoe, and it's all React X. So I really liked how that felt in the store. When I stood up, it feels like there's some of that soft ZoomX with soft React X down below it. And I really like that feeling. I like soft. That is for sure my preference with shoes. Overly firm shoes don't do much of anything for me. So that was a nice stand-up feel. Actually, it even feels a little softer than the Nike Vomero Plus, which is great. So I'm going to do a squish test, walk test real quick, then we're going to go ahead and get into the run. Okay, so squish test. We're going to have to runner's loop it. We got some bulging right here. But squish feels really nice. Obviously super stable still, but I can push into the sides here. The squish is really nice. It feels kind of Vomero Plus E. It's not as soft as that first step was. Forefoot is okay. I don't know. I'm actually pretty excited to run in this. I don't normally like stability shoes. The Asics Gel Kayano, I thought did a really nice job at being a stability shoe, but it didn't work for me. When I was doing a demo run, I took it out for a mile and it felt really smooth and really good and really well done, but it didn't work for me. Here, I can feel a little bit in the arch coming up, but it feels pretty good, pretty supportive, I'm hopeful. What I want out of this run to be just a nice, cushy, easy shoe This doesn't feel overly rockered, but we'll see how that feels when we get into our actual run. Okay, so with my heel seated in the back, we actually do have about a thumb, so I would go true to size on sizing. It does just feel a little narrow. It feels like it comes into this point a little bit harder. And then this is the interesting thing. I could see into the tongue, like that's the top of my sock right there. So I'm going to readjust that. So we're gonna runner's loop this real quick, then we're gonna get into our first mile at 10-minute pace, and we will jump right there. Okie doke, so we are starting off here at our 10-minute pace, nice and easy. We'll check in at about a half mile, like normal. All right, we are popping along just past a half mile, hanging around 9:40 pace, and not as soft as I'd hoped. That squish test where I really pushed my heel into the ground felt like it gave me a lot of that really nice squish and bounce, but not really feeling it as much as I'm actually running along here. The arch does feel nice. It's almost like it has a Curex, like yellow or Curex blue insert in there if you've had that before. So what I mean is it's into the arch a little bit, but it feels mild. It feels dynamic, if you will. Not overly aggressive. Doesn't feel like it's pushing me in or out. And frankly, doesn't feel like you would have a ton of stability correction. If you need stability correction, like you need a lot of support, I'd maybe look more towards something like a A6 Kayano, maybe a Hurricane from Saucony, just a couple of other options that are in that segment. We'll go ahead and close this mile out and then finish the rest of the thoughts. Okay, very cruisy, 9:43, doing what we generally want it to do. I do think I have a use case for this. One, actually, before I get to that, if you just want a supportive shoe for everyday walking, this feels like it offers the support, especially through the arch, compared to having like a neutral shoe with an insert in it. And two, for me running wise, occasionally my foot will flare up, like coming off of the 50K I did. I felt like I had some plantar fasciitis popping up, and while this isn't overly soft, taking away some of that like uncomfortable heel strike feel, it does feel like it offers a lot of support to the arch and takes some of that like flexion out of what my foot has to absorb, right? So like if the shoe comes up to meet the arch, it's just going to help slow down the rate at which the arch is moving, and that's going to make it easier to deal with. The tissue isn't going to get as beat up. So that's just an option that's going to make it feel more comfortable if you do have any sort of like plantar fasciitis flare-ups. And especially at $140, which you can find this on sale all over the place for, I think that's checking a box where you get a lot of value in that if you go get a neutral shoe and an insert, you're maybe talking like $140 for the shoe plus $60 for an insert. Whereas this, normally $170 and then down to $140 on sales, like, I don't know, that feels like a pretty good deal to me. At any rate, we'll go ahead and hop into the next mile at 8:30 pace and see how it does closer to my daily paces. So we are doing A-okay here, cranking at 8:37 pace, nice and easy, not trying to do anything too crazy, and it feels good. This is for sure the my foot hurts shoe in my rotation now, which is nice to have. Like, that's one part of a toolbox. Certainly nice to have. Like, as I'm increasing my mileage right now, I'm sure there will be days where my foot kind of hurts. And I will, for sure, be grabbing for this. The size and lockdown feels great. The bounce feels a little better here. I took off a little too fast at the start of this, and I'm pleasantly surprised with how that felt. So we'll see what ends up happening as we go towards that 7-minute pace. Alrighty, that'll do it. Just under 8:35 pace. So we stayed consistent. We did not really feel any need to push. Does feel nice. I think I said most of what I needed to on that one. The daily pace for me feels totally fine. Going to just go straight into the 7-minute pace run here. See how it does a little faster and see if that kind of cushy feel stays as we start putting more force down into the ground. Okay, I think we might be a smidge early because it's just started turning off. But as always, I have not looked at the watch yet. Let's see where we're at. Decent pace. I don't know if we're gonna hold this for another 0.6 of a mile though. So 1, fell off a lot right there. 2, this is not where the shoe lives. Duh. I was weaving through a handful of people on that earlier piece, so I think that's why we got fast on it. Yeah. Also, it doesn't help that my long run was yesterday and then trying to go fast today. Let's go break this shoe down and answer the question: can someone who's neutral wear a stability shoe? And 2, how's this do in a broader perspective? Because not every stability shoe feels like this, and not every neutral shoe feels overly amazing. So let's go over there. Okay, so we just finished up and popped these off. So the questions we're going to answer: can a neutral runner wear a stability shoe? Who it's for and not for, the value, and where it would fit in a rotation for you. So can neutral runners wear stability shoes? And of course the answer is yes, but can everyone? What are the parameters that it actually makes sense in? So who it actually makes sense for a stability shoe is, 1, when it's not overly aggressive. So there are some stability shoes that really push you to the outside of your foot. If there is a really hard posting on the medial side, on the inside of the shoe, that is going to be kind of a no-no for me. I don't feel like that kind of support suits me very well. On the other side of that, if I've got a shoe like this that just feels like it comes up and supports the arch a little bit, then I'm all for that. So something like this, the Structure Plus, something like actually just the Nike Structure, the ASICS Kayano 32 with their 4D guidance system, I thought that was less aggressive than the Kayano 33. So there are certainly shoes that are not as aggressive in terms of their stability that are still good supportive shoes for neutral folks who are out running. Another person that this could be for is somebody who really enjoys having just a little more support on their arch while they're standing all day. So it doesn't necessarily even have to be a runner. At the $140 sale price, shoot, I'm super cool with that. Now, who it's not for, somebody that likes a really lightweight shoe. Again, this is relatively heavy for a sample size coming in around 11 ounces, just under, that's pretty aggressive. Somebody who likes a really breathable upper. So it felt nice, but it's a lot of upper. So that's going to retain heat more. And then lastly, somebody that really likes a wider toe box. This is not the widest feeling shoe that Nike's put out. Even the Pegasus feels wider than this. The Vomero Plus feels wider than that. Now, for me, I have a very standard width foot, and it did not bother me at all. It also felt like there was a pretty good chunk of volume upward, so it didn't feel like anything was squeezing down on my toes, which I also appreciate. There are some shoes that are just very low volume, meaning there's not a lot of space between where your foot sits and the top of the shoe. Not the case here. That did feel nice. Now, in terms of value, I kind of touched on that already, but a $170 shoe that's on sale for $140 and feels like it has a $60 insert in it, dang, that's pretty good value in my opinion. Now, would I get this shoe if I was paying full price for it in my own rotation? Probably not, because one, I could get a Curex insert and just move it around to whichever shoe I want to put it in. Two, I just won't pull for this unless the arch of my foot is being bothered. Like the rocker was good, but not great. Actually, it wasn't very rockered at all. The transition, more so, I mean, is good, not great. Like, again, Vomero Premium, super smooth transition. Mount to Coast C1, super smooth transition. Super Blast 3, really smooth transition. Those are all things that I like on easy days. So this is more like easy day and I feel like my foot hurts. Certainly would not be going fast in it. It's not meant to do that, and so it doesn't. But overall, for what we're doing with it, I think it does that job well. That's kind of my take with a lot of the shoe stuff, though. Like, I want things to do the job that it's setting out to do really well, and this does that. It's just not super playful. On a recovery day, I don't necessarily need that, but it does support in the way I want it. And so because of that, the value is there. The rotation is an interesting one, though, because it's such a specific tool. Like, I'm very thankful to have the different shoes that I do have, but on just a normal easy day where I generally feel pretty good, I am more inclined to grab for something else. There just wasn't really that wow factor with the mix of the Zoom X and React X that I felt on that initial Squish Test. It was still good, just didn't give me that like really blown away, really soft, enjoyable feel. Also, if I was to break this into a rotation, I would need to be in like a 4-shoe rotation. So like, I would need to have my daily cruiser already. So like my C1 or Vomero Plus, or like, honestly, the Super Blast has turned kind of into a daily trainer for me. And I would need to have my fast shoe, so Evo SL, Skechers Aero Razor. I would need to have a super trainer already, so like a Hyperion Max, a Adidas Prime X Strong 3, a Hoka Skyward X. And I would need to have a racer before something like this really made a lot of sense for me to add in to a rotation. But at that point, if I've already got all those, I wouldn't be mad if this showed up in my closet. And if those were just the 4 shoes I had already, I could absolutely see this being a shoe that I use on a regular basis. So it's not like it's a one-off. It's just kind of a one-off for me because I have so many tools accessible to me in my toolbox. If you happen to need a running hat, the Ontos running hats were designed by me, and I care a whole lot about the outcome. Obviously, it feels fantastic. Otherwise, I wouldn't be wearing it as much as I am. If you want to help support the channel, the best way you can do that is to go take a look at ontosrunning.com and grab a hat or maybe a pair of socks. You can use code YTO, like YouTube Ontos, YTO10 for 10% off your order, and you can get free shipping if you go over $65. So all those cool things. With that said, I hope you guys all have a great day. Do something good for your body. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.